Hi guys, so in this video I'm going to be doing something a bit different. I'm going to be doing a top 10 list of popular movies that I just do not enjoy at all, if I'm honest. Now, there are some merit to these movies, just to be clear and get this out in the open first off. I don't think these are bad movies in general. I think most of these movies are well made. I just don't get any enjoyment out of them as much as I'd like to, if I'm honest. And I thought I'd pick the most insanely popular movies, in my opinion, that I just don't resonate with. But that's just me. But like I say, you know, if you like any of these movies, that's absolutely brilliant and more power to you. I'm so glad people get the enjoyment out of these films that I just don't. But yeah, I just thought I'd do a little list of movies that I think are really, really popular, but somehow along the way I just can't resonate with these films at all. And I'll give my justifications as to why. But yeah, like I say, I don't think these movies are bad, and if you like them, more power to you. But yeah, kicking it off with my first pick, and it's a James Bond movie for me. And the first movie I'm going to pick that I think is really popular amongst audiences that I just don't resonate with is 2006's Casino Royale. A lot of people say this is the best James Bond film ever. I've just never really been part of that, been on that ship, if I'm honest. Daniel Craig, to me, always sort of reminded me of Robert Shaw from Russia with Love. So I always thought he had this sort of villain quality about him. He's never really been Bond to me. That's just me. If he's your Bond, that's absolutely fine and absolutely perfect. Whenever I'm doing a James Bond marathon, my head always dips when I get to Die Another Day and then the Craig era, if I'm honest. For me, I think Skyfall is the best Daniel Craig Bond film, and I'm still in two minds as to whether I liked or disliked No Time to Die, if I'm honest. The other three films, Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace, Spectre, I don't enjoy, if I'm honest. But like I said, if you enjoy Casino Royale, more power to you. I just can't click with that film. I know it's great, and I know it's a well-made film. It's got some real grounded reality elements to it. Some gritty, scenes. The opening scene I think is really good, but overall as a film, I just don't enjoy it. I can't get on board with it, and it's a real shame for me because I know how well received that movie is, and I know how much how many people love that film. It really is, but for me, it's just one I can't resonate with. That's just me, unfortunately. So yeah, that is my first pick. Is 2006's Casino Royale. So moving on to my second film that I think is really popular with audiences that I just didn't enjoy. Iron Man 3. I love Shane Black. I love his movies. I love The Nice Guys. I love Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Movies he's involved with like Lethal Weapon and Predator. But for me, spoilers for Iron Man 3 as well, by the way. What they did with the Mandarin in this movie really, really took me out of the film to the point where I was annoyed. Now, I've never read the Iron Man comics or anything like that, but I did watch the animated Iron Man show back in the 90s, and that, to me, was the Mandarin. I really, really enjoyed what this film was doing with the Mandarin up to a point. Now, what they did, yeah, it just pulled the rug from under me, and I didn't like it at all. It just left a bad taste in the mouth, if I'm honest, and I just really, really couldn't get on board with it. It really pissed me off, if I'm honest. I didn't like it at all, what they did. I thought the build-up with what they were going for was excellent. Really, really enjoyed the direction they were taking it, and I thought Ben Kingsley was great. And then a bad decision from a writing perspective, in my opinion, kicked in. and it just ruined the film for me. And I just didn't enjoy it. Completely took me out of the movie. It was just such a slap to the face, that it just knocked me out, and I just couldn't get back into the film. It just really, really did, and it was just such a shame, in my opinion. But I know this movie does have its fans, and I know people find that twist rather humorous. I get that, but for me, it was just too much of a 180, and I couldn't. The movie just couldn't win me back over. So yeah, this is another movie that I dread rewatching whenever I'm rewatching the MCU. I just can't get on board with that decision, with that character, if I'm honest. I know there's a lot of people who agree with me, but yeah, for me, not for me at all. The decision that I made, but like I said, not a bad movie overall. I'm not trashing the movie by any means. The movie just lost me with that decision, and it's a real shame. So yeah, that's Iron Man 3. Next up, we've got Baz Luhrmann's Moulin Rouge. I know this movie has its fans, and I think this movie looks great visually. Story-wise, I don't know what the hell's going on. I just can't get into it. Yeah, I can't say much more than that, really. It just, on a story level, I just don't care. I'm not engaged. Visually, really, really good. I don't like it when movies sort of do covers of popular songs either. And, this whole musical thing. I like musicals with original music, but when it's popular songs and they're just covers, I'm like, I'd much rather be listening to the original versions or the versions that I prefer. I just can't get into Moulin Rouge, unfortunately. Yeah, just a story that does absolutely nothing for me. So yeah, I can't really say much more than that. That's Moulin Rouge. Next up is a movie, actually, made by probably one of my favourite directors, because when he's good, I think he's really good. And I've heard that this is one of his better movies of recent times. But for me, it's Big Fish by Tim Burton. I just could not get into this film. Very sort of similar opinion about Moulin Rouge. I liked it visually. The characters I thought were really good. But for me, on a surface level, that's where it stops. I just couldn't get into the story. I've tried many times to watch this film. I just can't get into it at all whatsoever. That doesn't, like I said, it doesn't mean that it's a bad film. It's just me. I can't get into it. I can't get any enjoyment out of it. I can't resonate to it. I don't gravitate towards it at all. But yeah, maybe one day I will. But for right now, it's a movie that's not for me, unfortunately. So yeah, that is Big Fish. Next up, we've got Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah, this is another movie that I remember watching it and thinking that was okay. But then when, hearing about it through word of mouth, I sort of picked up on the fact that people really, really liked and enjoyed this movie. I thought it was very forgettable, if I'm honest. The only real two performances in it that stand out to me are Jeffrey Rush and Orlando Bloom. Could not fucking care less. Sorry, not Orlando Bloom. The two that stand out to me are Johnny Depp and Jeffrey Rush. I couldn't fucking care less about Orlando Bloom or Keira Knightley in this movie. I can't get on board with him. I think Orlando Bloom is about as bland as dry toast in this movie. I just can't get on board. The only work he's done is the stuff with Peter Jackson and Lord of the Rings that I really like. Other than that, I just don't like anything he's in, if I'm honest. Or Johnny Depp, you can tell, is having fun with the role. He's enjoying it. Jack Sparrow. Jeffrey Rush makes a great villain as Barbossa, but other than that, the film offers me nothing. I just feel absolutely nothing apart from watching those two actors, and it doesn't have enough strength to call me back to it for a rewatch, in my opinion. Just really, really doesn't. I actually really do like Dead Man's Chest, though. Dead Man's Chest is so much better in my opinion. I really, really enjoy that film. Bill Nye as Davy Jones, fantastic. I love the designs of his crew. Absolutely brilliant and creative designs that I just really get on board with and love seeing. That movie sort of feels like a really good Indiana Jones knockoff to me towards the end in the third act. But for Curse of the Black Pearl, no, I'm sorry, it's not a fun film for me to watch. I don't have a good time watching it. But like I say, if you like it, more power to you. So yeah, that's Curse of the Black Pearl. Next up, please don't hate me for this one. Toy Story 3. Toy Story 3 is possibly my least favourite out of all 4 of the Toy Story movies. But like I say, that doesn't necessarily mean that it is a bad film. I did like it the first time I saw it, but on rewatch, I find this movie very difficult to sit through, if I'm honest. And here's why. I find that this movie takes the emotional aspects way too far for me. Not to say that Toy Story 1 and Toy Story 2 didn't have their emotional moments, but for me, this crosses a line and goes way too far, absolutely pole vaults over that line. For me, that it's just out of sight. It just makes for uncomfortable viewing, in my opinion, with the incinerator scene in particular, scene where Andy hands over his toys. It's just, I find it very uncomfortable, if I'm honest. But I do still think it's a very, very well made film. The animation's stellar in it. Lotso as a character, I think, is fantastic. But yeah, I just I can get into the movie, absolutely. The story has me hooked and I find it riveting to watch, but the emotional punch that this movie delivers is way too much. Way overboard for me, and it's just, it doesn't sit well on rewatches for me. If you, like I say, if you like it and if you can take that and you get something from it, more power to you. But yeah, for me, it's the Toy Story movie I enjoy rewatching the least, in my opinion. So yeah, that's all I have to say about Toy Story 3. Next up, we've got David Fincher's The Social Network. Like I said about most of these other movies, I don't think this movie is a bad movie by any means. David Fincher is a great director. Really sort of good-looking movie. I appreciate this movie for what it is, but on the whole, it bored the fuck out of me. If I'm honest, Facebook is a thing I don't care enough about for it to warrant a film, in my opinion. Jesse Eisenberg as an actor, I don't like. I'm not a fan, if I'm honest. But yeah, for me, just the one word I can use to sum this movie up is boring. It really, really didn't keep me engaged at all. I found it a struggle. I just don't care enough about Facebook, if I'm honest. So yeah, that's all I really have to say about The Social Network. Movie just didn't engage me. I checked out shortly after it began. And yeah, just it didn't keep me hooked at all. But yeah, if you enjoy it, more power to you. But that is The Social Network. Next up, Scott Pilgrim versus the World. I fucking can't stand Michael Cera as an actor. I don't know why he's in the line of work he's in. The guy, for me, is just can't act. He's fucking useless. Brings absolutely nothing to the table. I can imagine this guy to frustrate the hell out of anyone he works with, in my opinion. He just doesn't do anything for me at all. Zero. He completely takes away from a movie. He just doesn't add to it at all, in my opinion. Scott Pilgrim, for me, is one of the better movies he's in. If I'm honest, at least he's trying, in my opinion. But everything else he's in, I just think he's a useless cock, if I'm honest. He's just absolutely useless. Doesn't bring anything. I just don't understand why he's an actor, if I'm honest. He just doesn't do a single thing for me. But visually, Scott Pilgrim I thought was really good, really interesting. I've just never. I came out of this movie just feeling nothing, absolutely nothing, just absolutely numb. Very similar to Social Network, just absolutely numb. Just like, well, I've seen it, let's move on, put the next film on. Just didn't do a thing for me, unfortunately. And it doesn't help when your lead actor, in my opinion, can't act. Just it's well written, it's well directed. I can tell Edgar Wright's having a lot of fun with this film, with the visuals. I'm completely 100% on board with that. But other than that, the movie just made me feel numb, and I couldn't get any enjoyment out of it at all. But like I say, if you like it, absolutely great. That's fantastic. But for me, nah, sorry. Couldn't get on board with it. So yeah, that's Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Next up, we've got Shrek. Now, the Shrek movie I'm going with is the first one. And here's why. I know this is a lot of people's favourite movie from their childhood. I understand that. It's one of the movies from my childhood. But for me, I find the first Shrek movie very annoying. Eddie Murphy's donkey really, really gets on my nerves. I hate movies that do this. Very similar to Moulin Rouge. I hate movies that put weird, creepy versions of songs in the movie, and just try to pass off as a musical in disguise. I hate it when movies do that. I just can't get on board with any of the songs in this film. You just sit there and think, I'd rather be listening to the originals. These songs just don't do a thing for me. And again, just totally makes for an unenjoyable experience. I will say, however, Shrek 2, I absolutely love. Shrek, I prefer it way over the first one. I really, really enjoy Shrek 2. I think it's fantastic. I think it's one of the best sequels ever made for me. It's leaps and bounds better than the original. I love John Lithgow as Lord Farquaad. I think he's great. He's great in everything he's in. But other than that, for me, I find this movie a bit of a tough one to sit through, if I'm honest with its characters. They just annoy the shit out of me. Maybe it's just me getting cynical as I'm getting older, but yeah, Shrek doesn't make for an enjoyable rewatch for me, and that's the only reason why. I just find some of the characters really, really annoying. But I don't think it's a bad film. I still think it looks great, but for me, it just doesn't hold up with regards to characters. But yeah, like I say, if you enjoy it, absolutely rewatch the movie to your heart's content. But for me, it's started to show its cracks. And the last movie I've got in my list of top 10 popular movies that I just don't enjoy, I'm going with Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight Rises. Things I like about Dark Knight Rises, I really enjoy Tom Hardy as Bane. I think he's really good. Really liked where this movie was going. And I was having a good time with it. I was really hyped for it going into it after Dark Knight, if I'm honest. But for me, this movie has too many problems. I think it's way overrated on IMDb. I think it doesn't belong anywhere near the top 250 movies of all time. It needs to stay the hell away clear from that. It doesn't warrant it. It doesn't deserve it, in my opinion. There are problems I have with this movie. Anne Hathaway in this movie, I think, is terrible. There's a scene where she has to force a scream out of herself, which takes me out the movie. I think it's piss poor acting. I didn't believe a single moment of her in this movie whatsoever. There's a scene where she's being incarcerated in prison and she does this flip, which is straight out of the laws of physics from Batman and Robin. I absolutely hate it and just can't get on board with it at all. The sequence involving the sort of the stock market heist where the bikes come out and they've got hostages on the back of the bikes made me piss myself. I just couldn't get on board with that at all. It was just like something straight out of the 60s show. I just didn't like it at all. I was like, how the hell are those people staying on the back of the bikes without falling? And I just couldn't stop laughing. And it's never a good sign when you're laughing at a movie. The end to Dark Knight Rises is fucking horrific. I felt like I was watching the movie kill itself. I didn't like the ending whatsoever at all. The direction it took was piss fucking poor, in my opinion. Just if you can't tell, I don't like Dark Knight Rises a bit, but it does have its merits to it. I do think visually it's great. I think Tom Hardy and Christian Bale are fantastic in it. I think Michael Caine's great in it as well. There are merits to it that I do like, but it just doesn't make for a good rewatch at all, in my opinion. For someone like Christopher Nolan to have, in my opinion, horrible moments, which really, really put dents in the movie, is really quite bad, in my opinion. I don't like my Batman movies being ambiguous with their endings either at all. Batman's not the place for that. And yeah, just the end of this movie lost me. I checked out completely. Trying to introduce Robin, no. Sorry, you've lost me. Just absolute. I've never seen a movie with such a fuck up of an ending. In my opinion, really, really did not like this at all. Awful closing to what started off as a good trilogy, in my opinion. And if I'm honest, cracks of Dark Knight are really starting to show with me on rewatches as well. I don't think it's the immaculate masterpiece people make it out to be. But yeah, that's just me. If you enjoy this trilogy, like I say, more power to you. Enjoy it. Get your enjoyment out of it. But for me, that third film in particular just doesn't work. But yeah, that's just my opinion on Dark Knight Rises, and hopefully I've justified it enough to warrant why I don't like it. But like I say, these 10 movies, they're not bad movies. They're not well-made. They're well-made, competent movies. There's just things about them I don't like, I don't resonate with as much as popular audiences do. So yeah. I'm going to do a second follow-up to this video of 10 unpopular movies that I really, really do enjoy and really do get something out of. Because I think that's only fair. For me to, if I'm bashing popular movies, I want to praise some unpopular movies as well. So, but like I say, in no way am I saying that you shouldn't like any of these movies, you shouldn't watch any of these movies, I want these movies erased. Absolutely not. That's not what I'm saying. These are just movies I don't resonate with. And I'm sure everyone has their popular movies as well that they don't resonate with either. I just thought I'd make my list. I'll leave the video there and I'll say I hope you've enjoyed it. I am going to be back with a follow-up to this, like I said, and I'll say thanks very much for watching. Stay safe and take care. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.